Hey there everybody, welcome to today's lesson. So today we're talking about exponents and roots. Let's look at this note page. So the first two problems are pretty straightforward. You're just going to take the cube root of this guy and the square root of this guy. So you'll grab your calculator. Maybe you're using the Desmos Online Scientific Calculator, or maybe you have one like this. But for the cube root of, whoops, I did that wrong. For the cube root of 27, I'm still wrong. For the cube root of 27, there we go. You're going to put it in your calculator and you're going to get a 3. So that's the answer you're going to write right there. Cube root of 27 equals 3. Now what about the square root of 225? Let's do that one. So square root 225 and you get 15. Now you know the answer to that could be 15 or it could be negative 15. So we're just going to go ahead and write both. Okay, that's the first two problems. So use your calculator, make sure you do cube root there and square root there. Now down here it gets a little bit different. So let's talk through it. You already know how to do all these problems conceptually, but it's going to kind of turn them around different ways. We're going to have to work backwards a little bit. So let's do some of this together. It says write down the missing root or exponent that belongs in the box to make that equation true. Okay, so look at this guy. You have the square root of something equals 18. Now, do you remember back when we were doing things that look like this? T squared equals 25. How did we get rid of this exponent? We needed to get rid of that little tiny 2 to solve the equation. How did we do it? Do you remember? We took the square root of both sides. So when there was a 2, we took the square root. If there had been a 3, remember we took the cube root, right? And then this canceled out with that, and we were left with t equals what that equals, which is 5 or negative 5. Okay, so kind of the same idea-ish here, except backwards. We have the square root of something equals 18. We need to get rid of the square root sign. So what's going to cancel out the square root sign? What is the opposite of taking a square root? We're going to square it. So it's kind of the opposite of what we did here, right? So if it's a square root, you're going to square it. Make sure you square both sides because we got to keep that equation balanced, right? So square both sides, and this 2 and the square root are going to cancel with each other. And you're going to be left with just the blank. You could put an X if you wanted to. Equals 18 squared. I don't know what that is, so let's grab our calculator. 18 squared is 324. Now, just a quick note, there's only going to be one answer here, not two, because 18 times 18 is always positive 324. So don't get carried away, no double answers here. Blank equals 324, and you're done. Okay, so same idea here, except you might notice it's a cube root. So instead of squaring it, we're going to cube it. Let's do that. Let's raise this to the third power. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So this exponent and this root are going to cancel. And you're going to be left with blank equals 6 cubed. And now 6 cubed, I'm going to push second and then this button to do cubed. On your calculator, it might be different. And I just did that I did that totally wrong, didn't I? Let me try that again. 6, and then I'm going to push this button without the second key. Yes, and then we're going to make it cubed. 216. All right, and that's the answer there. So if you were to put 216 there, it would say the cube root of 216 equals 6. You can always do that kind of thing to double check. So this time I'm going to try to do cubed root of 216 and it equals 6. So you can just kind of fill in the blank and then go back over it and make sure that it works. And it did. Let's go ahead and do this guy now. So remember when we have all of these numbers multiplied together and there's exponents involved and all the bases match, see how the base is, is 13 in all of these? So how does this work with the exponents? What's the shortcut? The shortcut is when it's being multiplied, you can take the exponents and add them together to equal this guy. So basically, I'm going to copy down all of these exponents and I'm going to write that they're being added together. So blank plus negative 2 plus negative 5 equals negative 9. All right, and if you want to use an X instead of the blank, totally fine. Now, we have all these double signs. Plus and negative is just the same thing as subtract. So I'm going to simplify that for those two, equals negative 9. Now let's combine those together. Negative 2 minus 7 is negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. And then we just need to get the box by itself. We can do that by adding 7 to both sides. And we're going to get box, I'm kind of shifting over here, box equals negative 2. All right. So that's how that works. And if you were to go back and check, you could write a -2 in the box. If you write really tiny, it might fit in the box. And -2 plus -2 plus -5 is going to equal -9. Okay, what about this one? It's done the same way. So you notice that they're being multiplied. So you know that the exponents are just going to add together to equal this one. So you can do 8 plus box equals -3. Now you just need to solve for the box, or you could put an x there instead. We're subtracting the 8 from both sides, so you're going to get -11. So the number that would go in that box is -11. Okay, so that's how you do problems that look like that. Let's take a look at number 7 now. Now we need to know what root of 2,197 equals 13. Well, there's no kind of like completely stepwise way to do this, but what I want you to do is grab your calculator and I want you to try 13 squared and I want you to try 13 cubed. If that doesn't work, you can try 13 to the 4th power. Start with the squared though and see what you get. So 13 squared, 169. Okay, that's not it. What about 13 cubed? We're going to get 2,197. That's the same number you have there. So you know that 13 cubed equals that. What does that mean for this box? It means that that same number, the 3, needs to go in that box. So in other words, it's going to be the cube root of 2,197. And now if you're working on this and you feel unsure, just put it right back in your calculator, except do it this way. You could do cube root of 2,197, and you should get 13. And let's see. And we do get 13, so we know that we did it right. So the box is equal to 3. Okay, so just a little bit of guessing and checking there. What about this one? Well, let's start with, again, we don't know the index here. We don't know what number goes in here. And we have the whatever root of 289 equals 17. So let's figure that out. Let's try 17 squared, 17 cubed. We'll see what we get. So 17 squared gives us, oh, well, look at that, 289. 17 squared equals 289. So this exponent is going to match what this index should be. So in other words, that box should be the same as the exponent here. So box is going to equal 2. If you want to do it the other way around and just check your answer, you would do the square root of 289. I didn't write my 2 there. I could if I wanted to. It doesn't change anything. Either way, it's just a square root, okay? So square root of 289 should give us 17, and it does. All right. So this is our answer. Square equals, or box, whatever, equals 2. Okay, now let's just take it up another step. Let's make this a little bit spicier. Let's put this in an equation. So a good first step here is to look and see where there is no box, like right here, and to simplify it. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. Whatever root of 27 minus, now what's the square root of 81? It's 9, right? Equals -6. Okay, perfect. Now we need to get this part by itself because this is the mystery part. We don't really know what it is. So let's get it by itself. We need to get rid of that 9, so we're going to add 9 to both sides. And you're going to be left with mystery root of 27 equals 3. And now this problem is just like these two. You can try 3 squared, you can try 3 cubed. I'll just go ahead and tell you, when you try 3 cubed, it's going to equal 27. So what number is going to go in that box? It should match this right here. So the box is going to equal 3. And if you're not sure about your answer, you just put the 3 there, you take the cube root of 27, you minus the square root of 81, and make sure you get -6, and then you'll know if you've done it right or not. Okay, let's do another one kind of like this. It's another one of these equation ones. So you have the mystery one right here. Don't mess with it. Instead, see if you can simplify this one. You're going to take the cube root of 64. I'm going to tell you that's a 4. And then add the mystery root here equals 9. Okay, you want to get the mystery root by itself, so let's subtract 4 from both sides. And you're left with mystery root equals, let's see, 9 minus 4 is 5. Okay, now you might know this one off the top of your head. Is 5 squared 25 or is 5 cubed 25? And if you don't know, feel free to use your calculator. But I will tell you 5 squared equals 25. So the number that goes in this box must be a 2. So square equals 2. Okay, we got 2 left, and then I'll let you get started on that assignment. This time we're multiplying. Square root of 16 times mystery root of 512 equals 32. Again, we're going to simplify whatever we can simplify. In this case, the square root of 16. So that's going to become a 4, because 4 is the square root of 16, times the mystery root of 512 equals 32. Okay, now we need to get this guy by himself, because this is where the unknown is. So we need to get rid of the 4. How are we going to get rid of the 4? Right now it's multiplying, so let's divide by 4 to get rid of it. Okay, so now we have, this cancels out, and you're left with the mystery root of 512 equals 32 divided by 4 is 8. And now it's again just like one of these problems. We're going to try 8 squared, we're going to try 8 cubed. We can keep on going up with exponents if we need to. Let's try 8 squared. Well, oh yeah, that's 64. That's not going to work. Let's try 8 cubed. 512, well there you go. If 8 cubed equals 512, then you know that this number here, that's the exponent, that's going to be the same thing as the index right here. So the box is going to equal 3. Okay, let's do one more. Same idea, we have to get this one by itself because that's where the unknown is. You might have a plus sign in your book. If you see a plus sign, that's a misprint. You should make that into multiplication. Okay, so mystery root of 49 times cube root of 125 equals 35. So we're going to simplify this guy because we can. Cube root of 125 is going to be 5. So I'm just going to copy this down. Mystery root of 49 times 5 equals 35. Okay, we want to get our mystery root by itself. So we got to get rid of that 5 by dividing on both sides. And you're left with mystery root of 49 equal to 7. Now, do you know what kind of root of 49 equals 7? You might know off the top of your head that the square root of 49 equals 7. But if you don't, that's fine. Just play around with that 7. Again, you're going to try 7 squared. You're going to try 7 cubed and figure out which one is going to equal 49. In this case, you're going to find it 7 squared. So that 2 is going to be the same thing as what would go in there. So box equals 2. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your teacher. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.